Hi, everyone. Welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. Thank you very, very much for being here. Okay, so we're kind of like towards the middle of March here. Um, Trump's approval rating is tanking. He's underwater. But he still has a fair amount of support. And I suspect that that's going to carry on until the people who are going to be most impacted by some of the financial decisions that he's making um, are going to impact them. That's just sort of the way it is, right? As long as it's happening to somebody else that doesn't concern you, it's not a big deal. Um, Unfortunately. So let's take a look at what's going on here financially for the country. All right. So this is where we're at as near as I can figure. There is a funding bill that's supposed to go through this coming Friday. Now, there's also an eclipse on Friday. So I don't know. Astrologically, that doesn't sound like a great idea to me, but what do I know? Um, he wants to increase defense spending by, I think it is like 6 billion, but decrease programs by like 13. Okay, I don't know where the other 7 is. Makes you wonder if it's going straight into very rich people's pockets. So you've got that going on, and the Republicans seem to feel that they have enough votes that can shove this thing through without any of the Dems. Apparently, 45 has been twisting arms and yelling and screaming behind the scenes, making sure that even the real hardliners, who are, real fiscal freaks, even that they get on board. So I guess we shall see. This again, this is a situation where consequences are, elections have consequences, right? I mean, there's just not enough Democrats in the Congress to stop them, to slow them down. So that's concerning. People who are on Trump's side say, oh, yeah, this is a hard quarter, but, listen, in the spring, everything's going to take off. It's just going to be great. Don't worry about it. No, of course, we're not heading into a recession. Meanwhile, Trump campaigned on, I'm going to lower your grocery prices. I'm going to make everything wonderful for you. And now he's saying, well, I can't really rule out a recession. Oh, yeah, and things are going to get tough for a little while. Well, they're not going to get tough for the wealthiest of the wealthy. It's everybody else they're going to get tough with. The tariff war is not, it's not going the way I think that he had hoped it would. He's not ending up looking like a strong man. He's ending up looking weak and feeble and uneducated. Okay, like just financially stupid. Which, I mean, six bankruptcies. You can't expect this guy to be an Einstein when it comes to big finance. So, I don't want to panic people, but I think that where we're at right now is you can pretty much anticipate a bumpy ride for the next several weeks, if not months. My understanding is that Premier Doug Ford of Ontario has decided to go ahead with the 25% tariff on electricity. That's going to be a problem for those people in the sort of the north, I guess, southern part of the United States. And the money, apparently it's going to create something like $400,000 a day in revenue. That money is slated to go to the people who are going to be most impacted by the trade wars, just like the $6 billion program that the Liberals have announced are going to be going to the people who are going to be the most impacted. I've not heard an equivalency coming out of the United States, right? It's like, oh, well, I guess things are going to be tough. That's too bad for you. So let's take a look at this. And I want to see not only sort of broadly what's going to happen, but I'm more curious to see what that will or won't do in terms of the way Trump behaves and the way Republicans behave. So that's what we're going to look at this Soulprint Mini today. Oopsie. Oh, it fell out. Not a good start. Got the devil flying out. I'm just going to give it another quick shuffle here, and then let's just take a look and see what we can find out. Please don't forget to put any questions you have in the comment section below for Pendulum Friday. And as always, thank you so very, very much for your support. And the birthday wishes that came in, thank you very much. The anniversary wishes that came in, thank you very much. All of it is really, really appreciated. Okay. Here we go. U.S. economy, Trump Republicans. U.S. economy, Trump Republicans. U.S. economy, Trump Republicans. Let's see where we go. Okay. We're starting off with the Six of Cups, right? And so this is a situation where there is just, I don't know, like a strong desire for things to kind of return to whatever normal is. Trump inherited a pretty strong economy. I mean, the United States was in really good shape, and he's completely trashing it. So there's a lot of this sort of emotional, well, why can't we just go back to the way it was? Well, you can't, because you have somebody leading the country who is more interested, seven of swords, in taking from the poor and giving to the wealthy. And so things are going to become much more difficult. And I guess the overriding message here is you're better off doing whatever it is you can independently and individually do to try to safeguard your resources, your finances, your sanity. I'm not even joking. Your sanity and your sense of security, because the sort of the crazy rhetoric is going to continue, because he loves chaos, and he knows that he tends to win when things become really, really chaotic. You've got the Tower sitting at the bottom of this. So what you're looking at here is a situation where at some point the bottom has to fall out. Now, is that the bottom of the stock market? Is that the bottom of his presidency? Or is that the bottom of the economy? I kind of suspect it may be a combination of both. Where you're at right now is he sees that he feels, and by extension, so do the Republicans, that his plan is working. It's going according to plan. The problem is that his plan isn't about benefiting the basic people of the United States. And so from what I can tell, and I'll show you these cards in a second, but from what I can tell going forward, this is going to be about almost like keeping your emotions under control, not panicking, not freaking out. I'm going to share this. It's just sort of a philosophy, if you will. And I wish I could remember where I read it or heard it, but I've never forgotten it. And honestly, I have to tell you, for me personally, it's been really helpful to remember. The definition of abundance is when you have enough for today. As long as you have enough for today, and you can consider yourself or perceive yourself as abundant, that will keep abundance rolling to you energetically. If you are in a state of panic, then that is what becomes amplified. So it's really important that you do the things that you need to do to sort of try to keep yourself on an emotional, even keel, okay? Because you're going to hear, you've got the Three of Cups here and you've got the Seven of Cups. So what you have is people running around celebrating as if what the Republicans are doing is really smart. And so what this is representing is messaging that's going to be coming out of the Republicans that are, again, don't, don't look at what you can see, just listen to my lies. So there's going to be a lot of really confused information coming out, things that are going to be upsetting people. And because again, if he gets you really upset about, I don't know, something, immigration, he diverts your attention to what he's doing to the economy. And that's the playbook. That's always been his playbook. So be mindful, particularly from now, I want to say until the end of April into the very, very beginning of May. You are looking at a period of time where there's going to be a lot of gaslighting. I can't think of another way to say it. There's going to be just confusion and gaslighting, and you're going to be getting two sides of the same story, and the two sides do not even appear to meet in the middle. You have his financial people saying everything's going to be fine, and then you have the other financial people saying you're headed into a recession and it doesn't look like there's anything you're going to be able to turn this around. So, and you know what? Truly, the truth is almost invariably in the middle somewhere. Okay. And so this is about keeping yourself calm, because from what I can see, things are going to get a little bit more difficult. You've got the Five of Cups here. Okay. And so at some point, he's going to be looking for a way to not necessarily fix what has failed, but to reframe it so that, a recession is nothing more than a course correction. The stock market is being, too volatile for reality. I mean, whatever nonsense they're going to spew. So there's going to be this attempt to try to calm people's emotions and reactions and redirect. Okay, so this is where you're at, right? He's got terrible jobs. I mean, jobs were lost like crazy. He's laying off people all over the place. He's losing in the courts, which is somewhat helpful. His numbers are down across the board everywhere you look. And so he's right now, he's focused on everything that isn't working. But he's going to very quickly be re-messaging. Okay, and I'm sorry, but the one thing that we've learned over 10 years is that he's really good at that. Okay, and so he's going to be looking for a way to completely shift the focus and basically minimize whatever emotional hurt or trauma or fear or anxiety that he is creating. But unfortunately, you now have the Seven of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. And so what you're looking at is a situation where things are not going to, they're not going to unfold as anticipated. He sets these tariffs up and then he pulls them back. And then he threatens and he sets something else up and then he pulls it back. And so all he's doing is creating an incredible amount of instability. The problem is that Canadians, Mexicans, Europeans, they're not falling for it anymore. And he can tap dance back and forth over the line. The steps that are being taken by other countries to buffer themselves against the erratic behavior of 45 is ultimately going to have a significant impact on the United States. in some ways, it really does feel like you are watching the fall of an empire. And I'm not saying it's going to fall, but there's still so much instability. And it's not only impacting Americans, it's impacting everybody. And so you're better off, forearmed, forewarned, right? You're better off to just sort of start preparing for the fact that things could get really difficult. Do I think it's going to last like a really long time? According to the cards, not so much. You have the Ace of Pentacles, the Magician, and the Ace of Swords. So, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans going on, a lot of, kind of dirty dealing, a lot of, what's that shell game called? Where there's like the three things and something's hidden under one of them, and then they shuffle the shells things around, and then it's never ever where you think it should be. That's kind of what you can anticipate for the next 6 or 7 weeks, okay? There's just going to be a lot of magical thinking and nefarious behavior, I guess is the way I'm going to say it. This is the thing. There is going to be strength coming from the legal system, coming from the courts, but it's not going to, I guess I want to say it's not going to reverse as much as it's going to slow down so that hopefully other steps and stages can be taken to try to, push back against what you're seeing here. And look at, you now have an Ace of Swords. Makes you wonder if there's an Ace of Cups anywhere coming soon. So you've got 3 aces, right? And I guess this is part of what I want to talk about is, we know energetically that things are shifting. They're shifting into a different way of being. And unfortunately, in order to create the space in the room for those global shifts to take place, things have to change. Things have to fall down. They have to be broken down. The problem is that there's a difference between systematically, going through and streamlining as opposed to taking a chainsaw, like EM likes to do, and just slashing and burning. That's going to get controlled to some degree. And that could actually end up creating at least a little bit of stability, okay? But please understand the next little while is going to be bumpy, and then things are going to slow down. April, May, June, it doesn't feel like things are getting better, but it feels as if like the brakes are being put on, things are being slowed down, and so people are actually able to absorb and recognize what is going on. And by then, honestly, that's 6 weeks away, let's say. So people will have had time to sort of adjust, kind of buffer themselves, get their heads around some of the shifts and changes that are happening. There's going to be an attempt to really slash and cut, particularly programs that are basic, but it's not going to work. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of talk about it. There's going to be a lot of protests, a lot of pushback, and that's important. Do not minimize the impact that has, not only on your reps and your senators, but on the White House itself. There is strength coming from the people, and the people more and more recognize that the emperor does not have any clothes, and that this charging ahead behavior that's going on by somebody who was not elected is causing too much anxiety, too much stress, and it's not going to play well. And so it feels as if things are going, there's going to be like a reevaluation. I think it's the energy. I think it's what I'm trying to say. It feels like you're in for a really bumpy 6 weeks. And I'm incredibly sorry to say that, but you know what? So is Canada. So is Mexico. So is Europe. You're not in this alone. All right. And by and large, I think it is understood that the vast majority of American people are not on board with this behavior, with these antics, and with the processes that are going on. But everybody's going to be hurt. They're also telling me to brace, because there's going to be upheaval going on in war zones. So whether that is Gaza or Ukraine, it feels as if there's going to be a lot of instability there too. So it's going to get bumpy. So what do? We pay enough attention so that we're not oblivious to what's going on, because frankly, that's a big part of how we all got here anyways, right? You have these huge segments of the population who stay oblivious, and then they're voting or even not voting, but they're not doing it in a way that where they don't even have their best interests at heart, I think is what I'm trying to say. So you pay enough attention to know what's going on, and then you redirect and you refocus your attention into things that are stabilizing, that are positive, that bring growth. This is a great time, particularly for people in the Northern Hemisphere, right? I mean, we're going into spring. And so this is about new growth and new beginnings. And so anything that you do that encourages that, and I'm not kidding, I mean, that's from putting in crops to planting some pansies, okay? Anything you do that embraces that new beginning, that new birth, that brand new energy coming in is going to be impactful. So that's what I want to leave you with. The response to doing a sort of a guided meditation to bring some intense light to, the Republicans, to government sort of around, there's that devil again, dang, around the world. I'm going to be setting that up and putting that out. I'm really hoping this week, because I think sooner better. And just for those of you who are going to be paying attention to that, I'm going to try to absolutely minimize the chatter at the beginning of it, because I want you to be able to turn it on, sit down, close your eyes, and sort of get into it, and not listen to 5 minutes of me explaining what I'm doing. So that should be coming down the pike very soon for you. You're not in it alone. And we're going to hang together, right? We're all going to support each other and do what we can to stay on an even keel. And that is going to be how we get through this together, because that is where the growth comes. When we stop seeing each other as enemies or somebody that needs to be fought against. All right. Take care and be well. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.